Video game developers are notorious for the time, effort, and money they put into every potential release. Building hype is essential to the survival of any game that hits store shelves. Unfortunately, some of these games have the hype but never see their release date for reasons unknown. These are 10 video games you'll never play. Originally intended to be part of the StarCraft franchise, StarCraft Ghost was set to be one of Blizzard's first attempts at developing a game for consoles, specifically Xbox and PlayStation. A single-player campaign, the game was set to focus on the character Nova, a ghost agent with significant psionic potential, unwillingly employed by an organized crime boss. With an emphasis on stealth-based objectives and cloaking mechanics, StarCraft Ghost would have included utilizing Nova's psionic ability to solve puzzles, player-operatable vehicles, and both hand-to-hand and weapon-based combat. Unfortunately, after multiple delays, the game was cancelled in 2014. Soon after the release of Conker's Bad Fur Day, Chris Seaver confirmed plans for the development of Conker's other Bad Fur Day, despite Microsoft's purchase of Rare from Nintendo, which resulted in the Xbox remake, Conker Live and Reloaded. The sequel was set to follow Conker's unsuccessful tenure as king and the quest for his girlfriend Barry, following her death in the previous game. The storyline was laid out and ready for development, but in 2008, Microsoft announced the cancellation of any further Conker game. Announced at E3 in 2006, Project H.A.M.M.E.R was in development for the Wii as an action game where killer robots were attacking major cities across the United States. Slated as a beat-em-up action game, players would have controlled a hammer-wielding cyborg soldier in hopes of saving the world while utilizing the Wii Remote to showcase the realistic movements that could be replicated within the game. Project H.A.M.M.E.R was put on hold as of E3 2015. There have been no developments since. Set to be released on the Xbox, BC was intended to be a prehistoric game where players controlled a tribe that must evolve and migrate to become the best species alive. Facing extinction, players would navigate the dangerous world around them while engaging in prehistoric combat with rivals and prehistoric creatures that were out to kill them. From hunters to mystics, players could also choose what class of person to include in their tribe based on how they would benefit them and their survival. Unfortunately, the game proved to be too ambitious of an undertaking and it was cancelled in 2004. Halo for the Nintendo DS came so close to being developed that it hit the speculative demo stage and even had a few playtests floating around the internet. If it were released, it would have been the first Halo title not released exclusively on Xbox. According to demo videos, the DS version of Halo wouldn't have been too similar to the titles in the franchise while making use of the DS technology. No one is exactly sure why Halo DS was ultimately cancelled, and the only explanation was that deals did not work out. Intended to resolve around a young Boba Fett, Star Wars 1313 was set to be a more mature imagining of the Star Wars game franchise, more like Star Wars Bounty Hunter from 2002. Star Wars 1313 would have featured combat without utilizing the Force, a combination of a platform game with playable cinematic gameplay. It was allegedly supposed to act as a tie-in to the Star Wars underworld. In 2013, the Walt Disney Company shut down LucasArts after acquiring Lucasfilms for $4 billion. The game is currently on hold pending any licensing deals with an outside studio. Mega Man Universe was set to be another game in the Mega Man franchise with new options such as customizing characters and building your own levels. The player-created levels would have been capable of being shared online with other gamers. Mega Man Universe was said to be a game that would challenge the conventional wisdom of what a Mega Man game could be. Several teasers and gameplay trailers were shown in 2010, but the game was cancelled in 2011 despite fan interest. Production of Warcraft Adventures Lord of the Clans began right after the release of Warcraft 2 and was said to be point-and-click black comedy. It was intended to be an adventure game much like the popular Monkey Island, but miscommunication between Blizzard and the Russian team Animation Magic led to a pushed-back release date, which eventually led to the cancellation of the game in 1998. The narrative of the game still exists, however, in Warcraft Lord of the Clans. The development of Metroid Dread was announced in 2005, and it was intended to be the next game in the Metroid franchise with a release set for the Nintendo DS. Metroid Dread was set to revive the Metroid 2D franchise with 3D depth. After failing to appear at several E3 conferences and confirmation that subsequent Metroid titles were not to be the rumored Metroid Dread project, the game has still not been released. In 2005, Electronic Arts announced a partnership with Steven Spielberg to produce a game known as Project LMNO. The game centered around the storyline of Lincoln and Eve, the alien that Lincoln freed from a military base, and was set to be a parkour-based adventure RPG. Players could build a relationship with the rescued alien while attempting to flee the FBI. Eve would also evolve depending on how you interacted with her, but after 2 years of stalled development, the game was officially announced as canceled in 2010. Are there any games on our list that you think should have been mentioned? Maybe even perhaps Half-Life 3 at this point? Let us know in the comments below. Till next time, enjoy the game.